I need to like reiterate something that is like what craziness the last month and a half for me has been crazy. Like, first, I go to New York for my birthday. Had a great birthday, saw cool people, like, got some Cam's pizza. I don't remember it, but I had the slices the day after to prove it. Like, it was, ooh, a rest area. Do I need it? I think my bladder can hold out. Anyways, where was I? Yeah, so go there, have a great day, have a recovery day, and just chill with my mom. And the next day, we were gonna go out and see everybody before I left for New York, literally like the next day after. And then all of a sudden, my mom we're watching the show Glow Up, where it's like a makeup competition, and her and I are judging the makeup like we like can, you know, like whatever. And all of a sudden I hear this funny noise, and I look behind me, and my mom looks like she is seizing up. Her hand is straight. She's doing this. She's not responding to me, you know, trying to get her attention. And so I turn off the TV, go to the phone, call 911, and start listening to the guy. Honestly, if it wasn't for that person on call on the phone and snapping me back to what I needed to do, like, I don't know what the outcome would have been. I couldn't get a response from my mom, and then she just goes limp in the chair. And I tell the person this, and they're like, okay, you need to get your mom on the floor and start CPR. So I start pulling her legs, and I have to push the chair while I pull to get her to the floor and start CPR. I feel her ribs crack as I give CPR, which later was noted that that's a sign of good CPR. I was just doing what I remember in my training. And, you know, every time I would stop a little bit and try to get their attention or get my mom's attention, see, I have dissociated it from it being my mom. I said there. It's like, no, it was my mom. It was my mom. I would check if she was coherent. She would be like gasping for breath, and they told me to keep going. They told me to start counting, and that's how they would get me like kind of back to doing it, because like I was panicking on the inside, right? But also knew how to do what I was trained to do. And so I'm sitting there, or no, I'm not sitting anywhere. And then you know, the ambulance people came, the medics, and they take over. And, you know, like they're doing the whole cutting of the clothes, and then they bring in this machine that does the compressions for you. So now there's this contraption over my mom, and it's just beating into her chest. And that's when they decide that maybe I should step outside. And I agreed. And they found my phone for me because it was all like swished away in the moment. And I went outside and I started to call people. It is like midnight on a Sunday night, well, Monday morning, however you want to put it. And I can't get a hold of anybody. Everybody's sleeping. Everybody's got a job to get to, you know, Monday morning. I'm calling people that I know, but I'm panicking. Remember, like, so anybody out there being like, you should have called me, I was in a panic, and I was trying to call local people to like help. And then they did CPR again later that night. So she died 3 times within that moment and had CPR 3 different times. And then, you know, she was in the ICU. That was my new job. my job was to wake up, go to the ICU, and stay there. I fell asleep next to that bed holding my mom's hand. I cried, I laughed, I got information. My mom at one point, because a doctor came in right after I was like sobbing, and I mean sobbing, making noises that I didn't know I had inside me. And he comes in right after. Keep that in mind, comes in right after and is saying stuff like, would your mom want to live this way? And I'm thinking in the future, right? Because we just got there, and I'm thinking like we're gonna try everything until like that. And they're like, do you want, you're gonna have, you might have to make choices that are gonna be hard. But he made it seem like he was talking about in the future, and he was like, we don't want to give her CPR anymore because we don't want to do any more damage, but there are other means to, get her heart going again. And so I'm like, okay, yeah, like do that. Like, and then they started being like, you might have to think about like, would she want to live on a respirator? Would she forever want to be doing? I'm like, no, she wouldn't forever want to be doing this. And then they took that as a DNR. So overnight, my mom had a DNR. So if her heart stopped again, they wouldn't have done CPR. And that was because I just get later that morning, another doctor came in, and it was a woman. And she was like, hey, I just want to make sure you understood what he was trying to tell you. Blah, 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 DNR. And I'm like, oh no, I want you guys to do everything until you can't do something, like what? So thank God that my friend Corinne, shout out Corinne, hey, she's an RN, so she was able to like interpret everything, which was great because I was in shock and I didn't know what was really going on. And if it wasn't for my friends Corinne and Lizzie, I would have been so lost. They called the airport for me to get a credit for the flight home. Called my car rental place. The car rental place ended up being $1,400, and we tried everything to bargain it down, and it did not work. So that left me in a tight spot to do this. I would have been way much more prepared if that freaking rental. However, so many people have, what am I trying to say? Hold on. Do you put out a lending hand? Give me a lending hand? I don't know. Everybody that has, given to the GoFundMe or Venmo, like, thank you so much. Like, I am so grateful that I have people that care for me. And it's weird because when you're isolated in an area, like, you feel like nobody, like you are alone, and that, yeah, sure, you might like talk to people, but it never felt like, I don't know, I just didn't know, I thought I felt sad to be a friend, or I don't know what I told myself, but this experience has shown me that I have people in my corner, and that's super important. I probably got off track of what was going on, or what I was talking about. Oh yeah, my mom. So, yes. So for a week, I didn't know if my mom was gonna live or die. Then, after she opened her eyes, and she was still intubated, and, was kind of responding to like the whole squeeze the hand, and her eyes were following. But then she would stare off in the distance, which was showing that she was having seizures. So she was still having seizures. So they had to give her on, like, she was on every med possible. So many things were hooked up to her. She looked like, that movie like Hellraiser, where they take all the chains And they're like, but like without the ripping part, like my mom, you know, had things all in her. And so she started to get better. And she was improving. But with the seizures and everything like that, I started panicking of like, what if I saved my mom to just become one of the clients that she worked for 21 years, you know, like, and I know my mom wouldn't have been happy with that. So I would cry myself to sleep, just hoping that my mom would be coherent again, would be herself again. I was hoping I didn't bring her back to a mindless life. I was super scared about that. Then she, you know, started kind of writing and answering yes or no, because she was still intubated. And then she started breathing by herself. And once she done that, once she started breathing on her own, and was stable for maybe, you know, 3 or 4 days in a row, that's when I decided that, you know, well, talking to the doctors, because right now I am my mom's healthcare proxy. I still am in touch with the hospital, and they're in touch with me, and they're like, what are you gonna do? What's gonna happen? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm doing the best I can to answer all that. And to be there. But yeah, she was stable enough that I felt comfortable to go back to Portland and pick up my dog and my car and head on over to New York and help my mom recover from this. It's gonna be a recovery, because it's not just from, you know, from the cardiac arrest. It's recovery from alcoholism. I'm saying this on this video because I feel like my mom tells everyone that, you know, she is an alcoholic. I just don't think nobody knew how, you know, how far it got. And I was just right place at the right time. And this is, you know, in my opinion, this is my mom's last chance of life. And so I'm gonna be there for her to help her through this recovery as well. I don't want her to be alone through this, and I know she would do it for me in a heartbeat. You know, like, I don't know, no contest, right? Like, if this happened again, I'd still make the same decision over and over and over and over and over again. I'd make this decision. I would come to New York and I would help my mom through this. You know, like, it's important. Yeah. But then, once my mom gets better, I'm taking her ass back to the West and going to Portland. Okay. So I rambled on some more. Hope you enjoyed. That's killed a few. Oh, I changed time zones, so I'm in Central Time, but I don't want to change my sleep schedule right now. So now, instead of stopping at like 10:30ish, I'm gonna stop at 1:30ish, which should be, I think, is that the same time? Oh, I don't know. My hair is really greasy, but it's staying in place. So, I mean, hey. Natural, like, gel, I suppose. Dex.